Hey, this is Matt, and you're listening to Bluegrass Jam Along, the podcast for anyone and everyone who plays bluegrass. Hey everybody, welcome back to Bluegrass Jam Along. This is your Bluegrass Briefing for Monday the 17th of April 2023. First bits and pieces, as always, is just general podcast news. What have you got coming up? Finishing off the Tony Rice episode, I had a fantastic and fascinating conversation with Mike Marshall last week, which is going to be part of that. I've got two more interviews to do this week. One with Caroline Wright, who co-wrote the biography with Tim Stafford, and one with Marcel from Lessons with Marcel about his sort of experiences transcribing Tony's playing. And when they're done, I'm going to finish the edits and get it out, hopefully in a couple of weeks. So it is getting there, I promise you. But it's a lot of fun putting that together. The other thing is the Doc Watson episodes I put out a couple of weeks ago for Doc's 100th birthday. They ended up being like 5 hours long, and I understand that that's a little bit of an ask for some people. So what I've done is I've pulled out a couple of interviews from those. The first one is a Jack Lawrence interview, and I've just put that out as an episode in its own right, sort of 45 minutes of chat with Jack, because that was really interesting. And I do understand that 5 hours is a bit much for people. And can be a bit daunting. But I'm also going to take out the T. Michael Coleman chat that I had, because that was brilliant. And I put that out as a separate episode too. So yeah, Jack is out, T. Michael's coming this week. And if people like those and they prove useful, then I'm going to maybe pull out a few others as well. Because I know people don't necessarily have time to sit through 5 hours of Doc Watson. I do. I sat through 3 months of it. I love it. But I understand 5 hours of content is a bit daunting. So maybe pull some of those out to reach more people too, because I know people want to hear that stuff. That's it really for podcast news this week. Trotting along, doing all the usual stuff, getting the Tony thing finished, and then there'll be some new stuff to announce after that. So here comes the next bit, which is Church Street News. So we're on to this week's Church Street News. Few bits this week. Tyler Grant, fantastic flat pick guitar player who I'm sure some of you will know from the jams that he hosts on Facebook. If not, go and check those out. I'll stick a link in the show notes. They're a great resource. He's got a new Artist Works course coming soon. There's such a demand for flat pick stuff on Artist Works. Bryan Sutton has, I think, the busiest course they've got, but there's also Chris Eldridge, and they've also added now one with Tyler Grant. That'd be really interesting. That's launching very soon. Sign up to their socials, go and check their website out for information. I will put links in the show notes as always. New Artist Works course is always interesting, but that one looks fascinating. Few little bits. We've got tickets on sale for IBMA tomorrow. Tomorrow they start selling the tickets for all the big IBMA stuff in September, so go and have a look and buy your tickets if you want to go to that. Billy Strings has announced a whole load of tour dates for this year. Including the States, some European ones. He doesn't come over here very often, and some countries haven't had a chance to see him yet. So do check out Billy's website, link in the show notes as always for this stuff. Go and see Billy. I've seen Billy 3 times now, and I've loved it every time. You're always guaranteed a slightly different show. You're never going to see the same show twice from Billy. Go see Billy Strings. And tomorrow, Tuesday, is the return of my, my favourite podcast. This is my favourite podcast. My second favourite podcast, my second favourite podcast, Inside the Musician's Brain, from Chris Pandolfi of the String Dusters. It's a great podcast. Go and listen to that tomorrow. I've no idea who's on. I'm sure whoever it is, it'll be fascinating. Inside the Musician's Brain podcast kicks off a new season tomorrow. That's it for your Church Street News. Which means, of course, we are now on to the new release bit, which I call The Grass is New, because why wouldn't you? So what have we got? We've got Mike Todd, new record by Mike Todd, an old-timey vibe to this, including some songs you're going to know, like Blackest Crow and The Cuckoo, but with a dark sort of twist on it. Not quite Tom Waits, but a bit of that, a bit of Baby Gramps. I'm not really sure how to describe this one. It's a dark sort of modern take on old time stuff, and it's well worth a listen. I'll stick a link in the show notes, but Mike Todd's new record, go and check that one out. I'll stick a track in the Grass's new playlist so you can have a listen to that as well. Anything I talk about, any of this stuff, any of these bands, any of the releases, it's all going in a playlist which I'll just keep adding to as we go. Really nice way of hearing some mostly new stuff. And the second new release this week from David Grisman's acoustic disc label is a download called Tony and Wyatt Rice Together Acoustic Guitar Duets, which was recorded live in 1996. I haven't heard this yet. It's not on the streaming services, I don't think. I think you have to buy it from Acoustic Disc. I'll stick a link in the show notes, but that looks really interesting. I've spoken to a couple of people who've heard that already and say it is fantastic. So yeah, any new Tony Rice stuff is always very welcome. But yeah, that should be a really cool one. So I'm going to check that out. Can't put anything in the playlist for you because there's nothing on the streaming services yet, but go and have a look. I'll put a link in the show notes. That's it for this week's Grass is New. And that means we are on to Scroll On Buddy. Just some stuff I've seen on social media. It's nice to see what's going on out there in the world. And the things that I like this time of year because you start seeing the IBMA considerations stuff pop up. People who've, the first round of nominations for all the awards that are going to be around in September. And yeah, it's just nice to see, just a reminder of the stuff that's been going on over the past few months, past year or so, all the people popping up with their little cards saying, for your consideration, first round of voting. And it's just a really, I love seeing it because there's so many things I've enjoyed over the last year or so that, life is busy, things come and go, you forget about them and it reminds you of some cool music. And I always enjoy that, and that's really fun. And also just seeing people posting stuff from NAMM, just seeing new instruments, seeing old instruments, seeing what's going on, seeing people get together. I think there's something, I know we're a little bit past the pandemic now, potentially in terms of how it affects our lives in a drastic way, but with everything having shut down for a couple of years, just seeing a bunch of people together celebrating instruments and celebrating instrument making and playing and just all this stuff is still quite exciting. I think there's something about people coming together around music that is always cool in the post-pandemic sort of mindset we're in. So yeah, that was just nice to see as well. That's it for Scroll On Buddy. Which just leaves me with a little bit of the show where I tell you what I've been listening to this week. And most of it's in the playlist. I've just been listening to that again, actually. There's so much good stuff recently. And I've been listening to the Little Creek record a bit more, but I had a track in my ears. I don't know where it came from. Got stuck in my head is the tune Old Spinning Wheel. It's been going on a loop in my head. Pun not really intended, but a spinning wheel and a loop seems appropriate. And so I learnt it, and I'm going to record it for the podcast at some point soon. And there's loads of cool versions out of that tune in various formats. There's a lovely Bryan Sutton, David Greer one from Bryan Sutton's record, Not Too Far From the Tree. And I'm going to put that and another version in there as well. It's just, I don't know. It's one of those tunes that just seems so simple but so catchy and just got lovely little hooks to it. So yeah, I'm going to put that in the playlist. But that's what I've been listening to mostly this week, really. And that's it. All the usual stuff. Go to bluegrassjamalong.com to sign up for the mailing list at the bottom of the homepage. Go there for your chord charts for any of the tunes you want to jam to. Info on the podcast, list of interviews on there, all sorts of stuff. Please, as always, if you enjoy this podcast, just go to wherever you get your podcasts from and either leave me a review or if you haven't got time to do that, just give me a rating, a little star rating. And all of that helps keep this visible and helps people find it and helps me keep doing it, which is great. And as always, if you want me to talk about something in these episodes, then just let me know. Matt@bluegrassjamalong.com. Tell me about your new record. Tell me about your new tour. Tell me about your new band. Tell me about whatever. That's it. I'll see you all next episode. Have a great week and happy picking. Bluegrass Jam Along is proud to be sponsored by Collings Guitars and Mandolins, making some of the finest guitars and mandolins in the world since the 1970s. Visit collingsguitars.com and find out why.